Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This one is called We Lead, Building Connection, Community, and Collaboration for Women in Business. You guys, this is volume 3 from lead author AliceAnne Loftus. And I'll just shout her out real quick before I introduce these authors to you. AliceAnne, you're a badass, and we would not be here without you. You had a gigantic mission and vision for the book. You've had it for your business, and I'm so grateful to be here guiding this third book in your series into the world. And I've got some pretty cool authors in my Zoom room today. Kara Chafin Donofrio, CEO of the KCD team and host of the Soul Inspiring Business podcast, is a visionary real estate leader helping others build meaningful, connected, and abundant lives and legacies. I've got Megan Vaughn here. She's a certified cheese professional, owner and founder of Vaughn Cheese. And Lisa Van Wormer is here, veteran writer and founder of Abrado Analytics, where she helps women weave their experience into opportunity through certification strategy and storytelling in government contracting. We're going to have a fun conversation today about this book, gals. Kara, start us off. Tell us the why behind your chapter.
So thrilled to be here with so many amazing women and part of this really awesome book. I think for me, the why was really about helping people see business differently. I think for a long time, me personally, I subscribed to the idea that we just had to hustle all the time, and that was what was going to push my business forward. And I think it was actually an alignment shift, a way of shifting how I saw business and what it could look like, that then allowed me to actually create a different way of doing business that grew more organically, that felt more aligned, that felt more like it was growing with more grace and more ease. And I felt like more people really needed to hear that message.
You know, the hustle is a problem for a lot of us. And I think with conditioned beliefs about how hard we should be working, because if we don't, we're not going to get XYZ. Like, what else do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I think that business doesn't have to be so hard. I think sometimes we make it hard, but I think that, there's really, and in the chapter, I talk about really 3 simple truths that allow you to reclaim your power in business. And they're sort of simple truth. I mean, they are simple truths, right? It's one, how do we really use our God-given talents and align really fully in that to show up in our business? Because so many times we try to do it all, but sometimes it can be boiled down to, just what are your gifts? What were you put here to do? And how do we just vibe totally into those and use those in our business? And maybe we leverage out the rest, or we, you know, don't focus so much on trying to uh, overcome your weaknesses, but really, how can I just totally go all in my strengths and purposely show up in that way in my business and use those to help other people. The second is really just using intuition. I think that's such an underrated skill in business, or sometimes we kind of call it off like, oh yeah, well, I had this gut read, but you know, but if you can really understand that you are incredibly gifted, you're incredibly intuitive, and it is a skill, it's a learned skill. And so how do we activate that in our business? And then the last is really just showing up every day to make a difference. I think the more people, if that's the mantra, how can I show up every day to make a difference, to make an impact in the lives of the people we serve, then it's business will naturally just start to show up. But it's getting into the energy of that service that really helps, I believe, create a different level of success, a level of reclaiming that power in business.
Yeah, not to mention that's higher vibes. So if you guys love law of attraction, that's what you're in with her number 3. And also just quick comment about that. I wanted to rewind you to number 1 because delegating all the rest was one of the ways I got out of the burnout of that hustle. It's like you can't do everything in a certain place in your business. You just have to delegate all the rest or else it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
and it doesn't feel as fulfilling too, because if you're
right.
trying to do stuff you're not really naturally good at, it feels a lot harder. Now, I know sometimes for entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, that can feel tough to hear because they think, well, I don't have the funds to delegate, or I don't have the, this to hire somebody. But I think sometimes that fear can hold you back from actually small incremental steps of delegating things out. Because if you're really looking at what is your highest and best impact in your business, what is your income per hour, like where is your time best spent? And then kind of just rewiring how you may think about hiring somebody else. It doesn't have to be a 40-hour per salaried person. It can be small shifts where you can learn to outsource tasks that maybe are better spent on somebody that's in their gifts. And when you can learn to do that and learn to see the expenses of your business as investments that allow you to grow, then really everything shifts.
Hmm. Kara, thank you for saying yes to this project. Thanks for being here today to share with everyone. Um, there's I hope y'all have your notebook because there's going to be golden nuggets of awareness here and business building kinds of strategies that work. So I'm just smiling because I'm listening to Kara drop some golden nuggets this morning already. So thank you for kicking that off so well. Megan, let's move over to you. Tell us the why behind your chapter.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me here first, and for letting us be part of the project. It was truly incredible and amazing and insightful and such a fun opportunity. For me, I've worked in the hospitality and the restaurant industry for my whole life, and I had found that really increasingly across every measure of the industry, whether it's fine dining or fast casual or everything in between, that more and more the real like soul of hospitality was not being considered, that it wasn't there. And I felt like everybody just believed that hospitality, or treated this as though hospitality was just about caring for your guests. And that's it. But to me, I really felt like it started so much earlier than that. It started with how you treat your staff from the moment that they walk in for an interview before they even work for you. And I found myself running the best restaurant in the world, and really feeling disenfranchised after a number of pretty rough experiences. And so I thought to myself, like, this isn't how it should be. This needs to be different. And so I started with this idea of radical, genuine hospitality, this idea that um, it's it's about kind of breaking this toxic philosophy that the restaurant industry has become so prevalent with, that your team, your staff are just so easily replaceable, and that there's going to be a line of people coming out the door for them when someone decides to leave, and it just shouldn't be like that. And I felt like for some time people were kind of entering this industry because they really loved to care for others, but almost at the detriment of themselves. And that was not a thing I felt okay with. And so when I was working to open my own business, which was Von Cheese, I knew that I wanted to do something different. And so my why was to put into words what my hospitality belief practice, which is what I call radical, genuine hospitality. It's this idea that it is truly radical because it goes so much further than just taking care of your guests. It's about taking care of each other. genuine because it is true, it is real, it is the true basis of what kind of fills everybody's tank. And it is hospitable in that it really is the soul of welcoming people home.
I love this so much. I mean, this is client journey, y'all, and it's not just the service itself. It's everything before, it's everything after. It's the energy you practice in your own business and how that's affecting people all around you, no matter if it's clients, customers in your case, coming in, but your coworkers and just the environment. With Kara, I was like, talk about those high vibes. This too. It's like it can tank so fast if people aren't taking responsibility for their energy and how they're treating each other. What else do you want to say about that?
It's something that from a fundamental perspective feels very unusual that, oh, you should treat your guests. The guests are always right. Guests are always right. People often forget the second half of that phrase, which is in matters of taste, right? But it's about taking care of each other first and foremost. And that does not mean that there is no standard, there's no expectation, there's no discipline. That's not the case at all. It's actually quite the opposite. But in my experience in practicing this, you can really feel and see, like just in front of me, the impact that this makes on my team. The hospitality industry on average has about 170% staff turnover annually. So on average, a full team will turn over almost twice every single year. And in my restaurant, we've been open 4.5 years now. I've had like 2 team members leave, and one of them has come back and the other one had gone to school. People stay because they feel invested in you because you are invested in them. And I think that's something that might feel counterintuitive, this idea that that taking care of each other is just for feels. It's not just for the feels. It's the appropriate business move, because ultimately now obviously it feels great, of course, but now my labor, training labor, hiring, bringing people on, interviewing, that's virtually nothing because my team are already here. They are innately part of us.
Megan, thank you also for being in this this book. You're all returning authors, correct? Kara, are you? Okay, Kara's
No.
a first time one. Okay. Megan, thanks for being back, for sharing your beautiful words in this chapter in this book. Let's go on to Lisa and hear her why. Tell us your why behind your chapter.
So it's funny that you bring up returning authors, because I'm in all 3 books of this series, and I was looking back at how like the trajectory change of my chapters. Like, I think my first chapter was about how did I get here? Like, how did I become an entrepreneur? Because I'm filled with a family of entrepreneur spirit, but I didn't have it, but I'm the one. My second one was about trying to fit into this concept of like business owner Barbie that I thought existed, and not realizing that who I am is what got me to that place. And when I took that on, that I was able to really like move forward with my business. So this chapter, I think, is a great like culminating chapter of that, because it's I wrote it as a segmented essay where all the pieces of me that existed before I was a business owner are what led me to be the type of business owner I am. And I think that's really what it like boils down to for me as a, in my business, is I don't have to strive to be someone different than I am. Like, all the different phases of my life have all led me to here today. So I talk about, in the military, I was an interpreter. And for me, it's just about language, and it's about saying the words I want to say and getting the message across the way that I want to. When I was in the Army, as a soldier, doing what, like this stuff, like living through the suck, doing it because it needs to be done, doing it because the mission is important to me. And then the creative, which is always a fight. I'm fighting against the creative part of me, because I want to keep doing creative projects and I want to like put my spin or this little thing on there. And so I had to find creative outlets in my life. And then, the last one is consulting, because that's really what I'm leaning into for my business right now. And I think collectively, those things feel very separate to me. And that's why I wrote it as a segmented essay. But it's really, all of them have a different piece. They're all like woven together in a way that makes me unique, my voice unique, the way I do things unique. And it coming to writing the chapter, it was a lot about me learning that that is what makes me different, what makes me special, what makes me the success that I will have as a business owner will be because of those things, not because I read a book and it told me to do these 10 things, or I did this and it told me to do that. It is about every influence I've had has been like filtered through these core pieces of me, right? So everything I've taken in, I still have these core pieces. And that's really what has led me to the type of business I have. And, at the core, I really love helping people. And that's why I'm leaning so hard into the consultancy, because government contracting can suck. It like learning to live with the suck of and the ebb and flow and whatever the political climate is and whatever, key bridge goes down, it changes a bunch of shipping things. Like all these things can affect your business that you have nothing to do with you. But it really, for me, is about like trying to help people get past, like understand that it's a volatile, it can be volatile, but there is a way and a path in, and every single person can have a part of that. And I think there's like a barrier to get in. And just because I have spent so many years pushing through the barrier, I just want to help other people figure it out. Like you guys love your businesses. Kara, Megan, Laura, you guys love what you do. So why not find a way to get other people to pay you to do it more, right?
Yeah. I want to rewind to your creativity piece for half a second. I wanted to pause you there because I wanted to hear a little bit more about it. I feel like that piece is so important to not forget the way that you're creative, and a lot of people don't integrate it, but I love that you're talking about integrating all of that stuff. What's the fun piece about the creativity for you? Like who are you behind the creative Lisa? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I think I think that I have always been a storyteller at heart. And it's either through writing or through stories or kind of leading conversations. Like I just love to be a part of the story or hear the story. And so I got stuck in working in the military and working for the government, like that it's not a really creative outlet. And so I thought I had to completely separate myself. And then I was doing like knitting, or I really love to read. And so reading a lot of books of all different types or participating in like fun activities. But then I realized like there are ways that I can integrate that in my everyday. I don't have to have it be like a separate piece of my life. Like I kept shelving these things all separately. And as a mom, I have oh my God, I have a 17-year-old like in 2 days. As a mom, I am a costume mom for her theater stuff. I make costumes with hot glue and a hope and a prayer, and I figure they'll stay up and they pass the 20-foot rule. And I think like giving myself a place where I can really be exactly like make things that don't have to be perfect and make things that make me feel good and make the people around me feel good. I've always tried to do that, but now that I can like kind of push that into work, like I always see it as like helping people stretch their mind. Like, what is a new cool way we can do this? What's a way we can like partner or team or do something fun or start a book club at the collective or do some, because for me, if I can engage my creative side, I can be more present in an activity. And I don't have to be coloring all the time or whatever. It's not that. It's just that if I want you to have a full sense of who I am, then I have to fire all the way around. like on all of the areas. And so if I'm constantly leaving out half of who I am because I want to be professional and buttoned up and, looking great and I've always got everything handled and I know what I'm doing, then you're not getting an authentic version of me.
Yeah.
My B plus is like a very true, authentic version of who I am. When I'm at my B plus, which is my creative, I talk a little too fast. My hair is always messy. I probably have a stain on my shirt, but guess what? I know what I'm talking about. Like, we'll get through it. And so I think that's part of it too, is just giving myself an opportunity to be who I am.
Lisa, thank you also for saying yes and being here to share today. I have a thanks for all three of you, really, for doing the brilliant job you did with those vulnerable, real stories. And then you're all stepping up in the second part of the chapters with the practice, really practical strategy, tools, practices that the reader can do, from a lifetime's worth of wisdom and experience. And it's that those chapters are such huge gifts. I keep saying, wouldn't you have loved to have had this team of women, this book in the beginning of a business to rely on? Like, oh my gosh, what a gift. Also, just a quick little peek at this beautiful book cover and another shout out, a thank you to Jennifer Osterhaus for the book design. So there's all of our beautiful authors' names on the front. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, Megan, question for you to start off with. What does it mean to you to be an authentic leader?
For me, I feel like that's kind of two parts, right? I feel like to be authentic and to lead, you need to both of them. You need to both be authentic and both lead in order to authentically lead. And for me, I work and have worked very hard in my entire professional career to be the same person at work as I am outside of work. I should never need to put on my hospitality face. I should never need to change myself when I show up to work to lead my team. And that for me is true authenticity. And to lead, to me, is to truly embody the soul of your team and to know what they as a unit need and what they individually need in order to be the best versions of themselves to get to what ultimately is everybody's goal. And so to authentically lead is to do that, is to get your team individually and as a unit to both their and your goal in a way that aligns with who you are, both inside and outside of work.
Ooh, I love the way that you started that question off. Thank you for that. All right, ladies, Lisa, next. What do you want to add to that? Like, what else does this mean to you being an authentic leader?
I mean, I think Megan got it. It's, if you're trying to be a version of a leader that you think is the one that's supposed to be the one leading whatever, your business or this event or this program, like, then why you? Like, you can't remove you out of the situation. Then what am I doing here? Why am I spending the extra time and hours and energy? It's like, the reason I'm here is to have me be a part of this situation. And so Megan totally got it. Like, you have to be the one that's there, that's showing up every day. And nobody, and I think from my experience, when I am who I am, and that people respond better and I feel better about the interaction. I don't feel like, oh, I got it. Like, I'm not an actor. I'm just me. Like, once you give yourself the permission to be you when you're leading your business, I think that your business takes off in a different way than expected.
Yeah, for sure. Powerful. Okay, Kara, it's hard to go last on this one, I know, because you're listening to all these amazing answers, but I know you've got 2 cents for this. What does it mean to you?
So two things. So it was interesting when I was actually listening to Lisa in the first answer, I was just like, yes, because I was thinking of when I started the podcast, the Soul Inspiring Business podcast, I remember feeling like, well, this is so different from real estate. How does this even go together? And, and a lot of that is like, how do you align into who you're meant to be in the world? And so it is about that integration but it's been such a gift because it's actually gone into, interestingly, the leadership side of the business too. It's like how you show up, how are you integrating these different pieces of yourselves. And I think when people see that, it's a connection point. It's a connection point for, oh, they're real. They're not just putting on a face. But so I just wanted to do a shout out on that. But one of the things that just came up about authentic leadership is I think that when we think about showing up as this authentic version in our business, there is a responsibility that goes along with it. And the responsibility is to do the inner work ourselves as leaders to then really know what are we being called to bring into the world. So I think there's along with showing up for our team and our clients and our customers and all of these people that we serve, there's also a big responsibility for doing our own inner work so that we can continue to show up in the highest possible version of ourselves for others, for the world.
Agree. I think the best leaders are doing inner work as a lifetime commitment, really a discipline, which is powerful. And it's why I like hanging out playing in the sandbox with the likes of you gals, because you're all doing it. Okay. So I want to come back around to each of you now and ask about a little bit about the practical piece in the chapter. Lisa, what do you want to leave people with today in terms of the most important thing about owning their story and claiming what's theirs in business? These words come right from our author's chapter titles, you guys, so you have a clue about what they're talking about.
Yeah. So I always struggle with the practice because I don't offer like a thing, right? I don't. So for me, I've always I always struggle in this section, but I feel like in this chapter, my practice is like the strongest that it is. And it's just about certify your business, claim your space, open the door to government growth. I always look at government contracting as either state or federally as your way for long-term money. So when you do a business client to client, you know that client relationship is as long as it's going to be, and then you have to find another client. So you're constantly, it's like Megan was talking about, you have this turnover that you have to manage, and she's doing amazing and doesn't have it. But like with client business, you have this turnover that is a part of your process. But when you talk about government funding and government contracts and grants, it's more of a long-term strategy. And I think it sounds very hard. I think it sounds like a lot of work. Getting certified as a woman-owned business or getting certified as, a minority-owned business, it is a paperwork shuffle. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes mental energy. And I think, unfortunately, it's there as an intentional barrier. But if you can take the time, take the effort, find a buddy to help you, you have an opportunity to put yourself in smaller rooms where you're only competing against people like you, or people with certifications like you for the amount of money that's available. And just, without getting into too many specifics, there's like $400 billion of open contracting right now for the federal government. Why does that all have to go to the big three companies? It doesn't, but it's because people like me don't know that they can take a part of it. Same with the state. So why not work on putting yourself in a room where you can be more competitive, because they're giving that money out. That money is going to get awarded. So I want it to be to me. I want it to be to you. So it's about just claiming your space. Like, you own a business, you're going to own a business. You're a woman, you own 51% or more of your business. Why not take advantage of that smaller door, the easier door to open to get in there to get more money? Why not?
Yes, why not? That's inspiring. Thank you, Lisa. All right, Kara, what do you want to leave people with? What's that most important thing you want us to know about how we're reclaiming our power in business?
So I think for a long time I operated in I call it in the chapter, a princess energy. But what I mean by that is like needing something outside myself to validate myself as a woman, to validate myself as a business, needing a man, needing a job, needing a client, or just anything that's outside of who I was to find validation and worth. And I think what this chapter is really about is finding your inner queen, because if you think about the difference between a princess needing always kind of in waiting, the queen already knows who she is. She's fully resourced and can just show up in a very abundant way because she's not needing of anything. And so from that energy, you can create bigger things in the world. And I do believe that all of us have that inner queen that is waiting to be reclaimed because you were born with an innate amount of power of creation. And it's just about reclaiming that and allowing your business to soar when you do that.
I love that so much. I love the term fully resourced. There's some strength in that term. I'm fully resourced as a queen.
Mhm.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Megan, tell us what you want us to know about radical, genuine hospitality.
Yeah, I think that it's not a philosophy or a belief or a system or a practice that's only applicable in restaurants. It can be used everywhere in any industry, whether personal or professional. You can use this anywhere. And for me, it's this idea, kind of looking at the three words separately. Radical is to unflinchingly, like just truly unflinchingly believe that and treat hospitality not as a transaction, but as like a truly transformative act. To be genuine is to just boldly, fundamentally, truly, deeply. It's the foundation of what it means to really care for people. And hospitality is this just embodying yourself as a space for people to be safe, to be seen, to be cared for. And when you put them all together, it's something that that works together to become the way that you can stand up for what is real and what is right. In management, in leadership, in working with others, whatever it may be, because to me, for me, like having been in, in experiences where I'm being like pinned against a wall in a cooler in a restaurant, screamed at by a power hungry sous chef, that's not radical, genuine hospitality. And I believe that it's about standing up for what's right, because kindness without courage, it's not hospitality at all.
That's a good one. Everyone write that quote down. I love it. I love it that we're going out with that power. Megan, thank you. Megan, Kara, Lisa, thank you all so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share with everybody. You guys, this is way more than a book. This is a very generous community. Maybe you've got a question or need support or want to carry on the conversations that we started today. Drop down into the show notes. I have everybody hooked up with their links and sites. Go explore what these women are up to. And of course, we would love for you to go grab the book. You can hop over to Amazon. The link is below to grab your copy of We Lead. And lastly, today, everyone, remember your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. Thank you, ladies. See you next time, everyone.